Hello and welcome to my video about homeschooling. I was first introduced to some American kids when I used to play some online games, and unfortunately I developed a bit of a bad opinion of homeschooling because the American kids that were homeschooled were basically all sort of creationists, and you'd ask them basic questions, be like, okay, well, tell me about the Great Depression, or America's involvement in World War One or World War Two. Tell me who the last president was. Any basic question they didn't have any answer for. So I sort of assumed that homeschooling was just to get rid of so parents could ramp up the religious indoctrination that they wouldn't have got away with in schools. And then I look back on my own education in England, and unfortunately, what the government decided, uh, schools would get more money the more students they have. So, unsurprisingly, they got as many students as they could possibly get. So, the average class size was between 30 and 35, and obviously, this takes a hit on the grades. And the thing that's really funny is that the school used to have an assembly once a week, and the entire school would attend. In my year alone, they had like 1,000 students, and we would pack out the assembly hall. So they'd have to now have three separate assemblies. Also, when we'd have an IT class, if every single student attended, we'd have too many people, and then someone would have to go next door because there weren't enough computers. So obviously, if you're in another classroom, you're obviously not getting the best teaching that you could have had. And also, sort of in school, there's two trains of thoughts. One is about, I know, grassing up and bowing to authority. And basically, if kids did something, kids, teenagers, students, if they did something bad to another student, you'd keep quiet and stuff. But lots of the time, this was just fully retarded, and to a certain extent, it sort of breeds into you a mentality of protecting criminals who should be brought to justice without hesitation. If someone commits a crime, then they should be punished. Simple as that. And I don't think certain crimes are sort of bowing to authority. If you steal off someone else, then yeah, you should be punished. It's a no-brainer. And the other sort of school of thought is anti-intellectualism. So there was, I know, this weird view about trying too hard in school is somehow bad, and you don't want to be like a boff, and I don't know. It was just really weird and bizarre. So you'd be sort of shamed if you put too much effort in at school, um, and stuff like that. It's really weird because I speak to my German friends and they've got the exact opposite. So if you're in, for example, the top group, you should be getting sort of grades, pretty good grades. And if you're not getting that, you're obviously like a retard. So people will be like, yeah, you're a retard, mate. Put in some work and get the high grades. Um, but I found in the school that I went to that it was more the opposite was the case. So they'd be like, oh, look at him with the top grades. Oh, he thinks he's so much better than everyone else. But obviously, you need to get good grades because after you finish school, you're going to go out into the workplace. You really should try to get some good grades. Now, I know some sort of criticisms of um, private education, sort of segregated boys' schools, segregated girls' schools, and smaller class size and homeschooling. To a certain extent, they all get the same criticism. Oh, you're not mixing it up, you're not integrating, you're not learning all these social skills that you'll need in life. And I'm as introverted as they come. Honestly, going to school really did help. Like, for example, I hate eating in front of people. I don't know why. I just dislike it. However, eat my lunch in the public cafeteria. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called an atrium. Eating my food in public over the years hasn't helped me at all. Eating in public over the years. Obviously, over the years, I give less of a shit, but I still don't like it. I still have this weird apprehension when I'm just going in and buying stuff um, from like a restaurant. Not too bad in corner shops. So I honestly don't think social integration is really an issue. But I think the bigger issue for me is all the different indoctrination and social bullshit and different social conventions that you're not even aware that people necessarily have. If you used to write out all the social conventions that you were subjected to at school, you'd maybe be able to come up with one or two, but there could be hundreds or thousands that everyone sort of does and takes for granted, and they're not even slightly true, not even remotely true. But unfortunately, it's common wisdom, which is just bullshit from the past when they didn't even have the scientific method to debunk that shit, which they just keep following on. And if you let your kid loose, oh look, they're following it all. And that's not to mention all the feminist indoctrination and all the other absolute bullshit that your kid would be subjected to. The other massive fundamental objection to schooling is they don't teach you useful skills for life. You're at school for so many years, and in the UK it's illegal not to go to school. If your child doesn't go to school, your parents will go to prison. That's a fact. However, they don't teach you about, I don't know, getting a job, working, or anything like that. Why are they not teaching you about job markets? Why do they not show you, okay, we have, I don't know, a shortage of doctors, and then try to make that more appealing and look at the job market and learn to read where the demand is, because it's very simple. Okay, let's take an average person. If you could work in a high demand field, you're going to earn more money. It really is that simple. Like in construction, they get paid 4 times the minimum wage, or two, it depends on what job that they get paid multiple times more than the minimum wage. And lots of the men could easily work in construction, and then you could work a job. Let's say you don't like the old physical stuff. There's loads, like crane driving isn't particularly physically demanding. There's loads of jobs you could do. Being any sort of technical manager, any upper management is going to earn you big money. But why not be sort of preparing the kids younger to enter management? We're going to need managers. We're going to always need the people with these various skills. And the other sort of fundamental one for me is they don't teach philosophy. Now they teach you religious studies, but the trouble is they only teach you the superficial parts of religion. Like, oh, they celebrate Hanukkah, and they have Ramadan, and they fast, and they pray 5 times a day, and oh look, there's Mecca. Why not actually teach them the philosophical underpinnings of religion, which is the good part? Praying 5 times a day isn't what's kept the religion alive. It's the fact that some of the religions give you a way to live which they believe is morally and ethically good. And I know, like, be like Jesus and stuff. These are all philosophy things. These are all sort of ways to think, and ways to live your life. And then they should also teach you critical thinking and how to sort of decide like what's the best one or how to live. and how to just sort of change your mind. And I suppose for me, I do think sort of long and hard about my unborn child's future, and setting aside all the sort of various gynocentric laws. Thing is, if I want them to have the best future, I really do need to sort of homeschool them. And then I think at the same time, am I realistically going to have enough time to do that and earn enough money and be productive all at the same time? And the answer is probably not. However, if I can't ensure the kid has got a pretty good start and possibly a good future, then there's no point having a kid. Because we could just look at the inverse. If you just have a kid for the sake of having a kid, without any thought, or again, I'd like to save up loads of money and have everything in place. Now I know you could take this to too much of an extreme and end up being like 50 years old by the time that happens. But the way I look at it is, again, if we're not ensuring they're going to have pretty awesome existence and a good future, then you're just setting them up for failure. I suppose another way I could sort of look at it or put it is about sort of your child's development and self-actualization and their maximum potential. And the thing is, the you want to build the strongest foundation possible. That's not to put too much pressure on the kid, like, oh, you must do this, you must do that. But with all the knowledge and understanding I've gained now, it should be. I need significant time to spread that message on. And the other thing is, which people sort of mention, but they never really substantiate, is about just parents spending time with their kids. Um, like I know that they're always. The thing is, okay, let's take an average person. They work 50, 60 hours a week, and then they've got to try to spend time with their kids. The kids have been at school so many hours a week, and they just want to mess about, play games, spend time with their friends, and then you're always in this sort of fight and a battle. Where if you work 25 hours a week, and then you was homeschooling the kid for like 25 hours, and then you messed about with the kid for, I don't know, 5-10 hours a week, just sort of on basic numbers, things should be, if you don't screw up, things should be a lot better for both of you. Now, I suppose also for me, living in the UK, there is like a hanging question for me, which is, what about the mother? Because the trouble is, last time I looked, um, you can't, I don't know, white men can't be surrogates in the UK. You can't get a surrogate baby, which does raise an additional problem. But if I'm perfectly honest, having lots of excitement living with women, probably just be like, just raise a kid by myself. And if I'm not working too many hours, then in theory, if I sort of pay a bit of money, get a little bit of nursing help at the start, because once the kid's a couple of years old, like 5, whatever, sure things will start making more sense. I suppose if I'm successful in years to come, I could be a case study. So, um, red-pilled kid in a single parent household versus gynocentric blue-pilled divorced families and single mums. Well, I wonder what kid's gonna win in the education, in exams, and compete on the free market. They're gonna get destroyed. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.